Hello everyone, welcome to the workshop. Just put a one in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Thank you everyone for joining this amazing workshop and being a Monday evening. I know all of you are tired, but we will keep the energy little high. So before I introduce the guest speaker, I just wanted to so how many of you here are participating in the challenge? Just put C in the chat if you guys are participating in the challenge. Awesome. I started before the timer. Amazing. I can see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of old people in the community. Thank you for joining in. Few house rules. I'll just tell all of you, many of you already know this. Switch on your cameras if you can. It will be amazing to see you guys. Mics are off by default. Keep the chat active. This is how we and Cars both will know you guys are engaged. And please raise your virtual hand when we open for Q&A in the end to speak up. And if you have to share anything, we will try to answer all your questions that are there. And again, we will be taking the questions not from your comments on the chat. Please put your question on Slido with your name and a proper question with a question mark so we can answer all your questions. We will try to answer everything in today's call. If not, we will try to get back to you by a recording. So how we are going to break it down, I already told you the Zoom ground rules. We are going to have a quick workshop, then 20 minutes, then keep your questions going on in the Slido. I will be sharing the Slido link in a couple of minutes as well once I stop sharing my screen. Then the workshop second part is going to continue with the demo and all the questions. Then we will be having the final Slido Q&A where we will try to answer all your questions. Now in these two Slido questions, first please try to put questions regarding today's workshop. Challenge discussion is something that we are going to do later. So first 60 minutes is dedicated to the workshop of the Airia demo. After that, we are going to go a little bit deeper into challenge discussion, and all of you are excited about the giveaway winner announcement that we are going to do as well, and I will talk about it. So how many of you are excited about the giveaway? Just put G in the chat as well. And then we are going to have an open mic for 5 minutes. I'm going to open the mic so anyone who wants to unmute and speak will have a go. So the giveaway is this for today's call as well. We are announced to do this giveaway. We have around 31 people right now. Take any learning from this workshop that you have done. Take a screenshot, write a post tagging us, and we'll be giving you a $100 Python certification course giveaway that is there. You need to take it and share it by tomorrow. In our workshop we are going to announce the 3 giveaways, and for yesterday's giveaway, by end of this call we are going to announce the 3 giveaways that are there. So please stay till the end, and the 3 winners will be announced for yesterday's workshop. So this is going to take your engagement later. Now, not taking much time, we are going to move to our guest speaker here who's patiently waiting, Mr. Carl Ferrater. He is a solution engineer at Airia. He is a tech lead for Mina. He is a tech enthusiast. He is living in Dubai, and he's helping us a lot in the challenge as well. So I will not take much time, and I will give the stage to our guest. You are unmuted, and the stage is all yours. First of all, thanks a lot for spending your evening with the community. Over to you, Carls.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Actually, the pleasure is mine. Thank you very much to you, Mohammed, and to everyone in the decoding data science. What you're doing, guys, is amazing. I'm looking forward to the end results of this challenge. As Mohammed was saying, my name is Carlos, and I am the technical lead for Airia in Mina. And today I'm going to show you the platform of Airia, what is Airia, but with a lot of hands-on experience in mind, with a lot of focus onto how to make something up and running, and how to be able to set up your first agents, and how to make sure that they are ready for production. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So Mohammed, everything is good. I'm sharing my screen, and give me thumbs up if you see the
Yes, we
platform.
can see. We can see.
Fantastic. So let me start with a quick introduction on what is Airia, right? Airia is a platform to help companies, to help individuals, to help organizations into the rollout, the deployment, and the adoption of AI. AI simplified for the enterprise. One of my favorite slides is actually the following. This is only going to see today a couple of slides, but I want to start with this one. Airia is sitting here in the middle. Okay, this, as you can see, is Airia, and I'm going to walk you through this slide to understand a little bit better what is our solution. First of all, Airia is use case agnostic. Airia is not a platform for people in retail. Airia is not a platform for people in finance. Airia is for any person or any organization who wants to create AI solutions easy and in a secure way. Also, Airia is LLM agnostic. Very important point for today's call and very important point for the audience here. Being LLM agnostic, it means that we connect to any of the leading LLM providers in the world. But it also means for those for the more advanced people in the audience, you can even connect it to your own LLM. If you have your own LLM running somewhere else, you can connect it to Airia in order to deploy your agents. So Airia is sitting here in the middle between your use cases, between your applications, between your existing applications, between whatever application you have in your organization, and can connect all the different leading LLMs in an easy way and in a secure way with your actual data, meaning the data that you have, whether it is on data lakes, whether it is on file storages, or whether it is in CRMs or other IT tools like, for example, Jira, or the likes of Jira or the likes of MongoDB if we're talking about databases. Not so much relevant for the call, but for you to know that Airia can be deployed also on premise or can be deployed in any of the clouds. Let's look into Airia and how does it look like. So this is the first thing I see when I log into the platform. For those of you that you already are logged in and that you already are asking questions on WhatsApp, that is fantastic. Keep them coming. I'll be helping all along this challenge for any questions or any tips that might come handy. As you can see, when you log into the platform, you see a bunch of, you're welcomed. And what I want to highlight is that to start building your first agents and to start creating your first AI solutions or your first AI pipelines, I want you to go over components. Okay, in components, I want to touch on 3 of the main components when creating an AI agent. The first one of these components is the models. Let's take a look at the models. When I look into the models, I see a list of the leading models or the leading LLM providers that exist in the world, whether they're provided by Amazon Bedrock, the Anthropic, the Claude from Anthropic, the Command A from Cohere, DeepSeeks, Geminis from Google, and GPTs from OpenAI, just to name a few of them. You can select any of these models here that are provided by the Airia Universal Key, and the Airia Universal Key is something that you see here. You see Airia Key Support or Custom Key Support. The ones that are supported with Airia Key Support means that you can use them with the given credit and with the balance that you have in the platform. The custom key support, it means that you are able to bring your API key, whether you have a relationship or you have an existing contract with Google, you have an existing API key from OpenAI, maybe you can bring it into the platform and consume the tokens from there. Great. So if, for example, I want to add the Claude the Claude Sonnet 4.5 into my agents and to make use of it into my projects, I would click into the project and I would click into add. Once I click into add, I'm able to select in which one of the projects, I can select all projects, I want to add this model. As I was saying, for those more advanced into the call, for more technical advance, I can also add my custom model by defining an endpoint and by defining the API payload schema that would follow. Now, we have talked about models. We're going to see how to create these agents with the use models, but models on its own are not that useful. First of all, one thing I want to highlight is the models that you see in Airia and the models that you see in many of these platforms are just snapshots of the model taken in some day. They are not they are not being connected to the internet by default. Why is that? One of the things that we guarantee our customers and one of the things that we guarantee the people that are using our platform is that their data is not being used to train these models. And this is very important. We want to keep things confidential. People want to run things through Airia and not through the Anthropics of the world or the OpenAI of the world to make sure that they are keeping them confidential and that they are control of their data and their usage. This is why these models are not connected to the internet, and these models are a snapshot of the actual model itself. If we need to provide them with connectivity to the internet, or if we want to enhance the capabilities of these models, This is why we have the tools and we have the MCP servers. When I go into tools, tools are those external services, external API connectivities that the LLM model can use in order to trigger an action to a third-party system or to retrieve information from that third-party system. If I look at them, well, some of them are very well known, as you know, for example, from the Jira suite, from the Google Workspace suite as well, or expand this to more, or also from the, for example, the Microsoft suites, from the Microsoft suite. What can I do? I can create an Outlook event. I can send an Outlook. Message, for example. I can retrieve messages from Microsoft Teams. I can create a Google document, etc. What is very important to highlight is that I can also add my very own tool. And by adding my very own tool, what I'm allowed to do is to define this endpoint, to define this third-party service that I want to send information to, or I want to retrieve information to, in order to use with my models. The same is applicable to MCP servers. As you know, MCP servers are a collection, very synthesized and very simplified. MCP servers can be seen as a collection of different tools. You can connect here directly to some of the MCP servers that are available in the Airia platform. These MCP servers are vetted by Airia. It means that we ensure that there is no malicious code running through it, that there is no process of stealing any credentials or stealing any type of data when running these MCP servers. And these MCP servers are not on all day. They are not always on. They are only on upon demand. It means that when it's needed by the model, a container is spinned, and then the MCP server is run, ensuring also security and minimizing vulnerabilities of these MCP servers always running. We've seen the models that basically they bring the brain into the agent or the brain of our AI application. We've seen the tools in order to make things happen in one side, or things happen or to retrieve information from the other side. And one other component that is very important and it's fundamental is what we call data sources, or here under data sources or under knowledge. What are data sources? Data sources are groups of information, are data storages, they are files that the models can use and can consume as information, meaning as knowledge. As I was sharing today in the WhatsApp group, for those that are following, the entire RAG pipeline, the process of the process of RAGing, it means the embedding model, the chunking strategy, the chunk dimension, the storage of the vector database, and the embedding model again in order to match something that the LLM wants to retrieve. It's given out of the box in the Airia platform. You don't need to prepare your tech stack for that. You don't need to set up any servers or any containers or any embedding models. Everything is given at the platform as it is. And I can do this here from the data source. As you can see in the different data sources, these are some of the most common data storage or storage solutions that you probably know, like Amazon S3 bucket, like, for example, Blob Storage, or, for example, File Upload. See that when, for example, I select Google Drive, just for the sake of the example, I can provide a name, I can provide a description, and here I can select in which vector database I want to store, and I can also select which embedding model I want to use and which dimension for the chunks I want to select. For those advanced users as well, if you have your own Pinecone vector database or your own WebV8 or your own Azure AI vector database, feel free also to connect to it. By default, you can use the Airia one without any additional configuration and without anything else to configure or to touch. Very important that, of course, the embedding process has a cost, and you see the cost reference here for every 1,000 tokens. Great, Carlos. So, okay, enough of too much talking. We've seen the models, we've seen the tools. Now, we've seen the data sources. Let's go ahead and create our first agent, and let's go ahead and create our first AI pipeline. Where should I do that? I should do this inside projects. One of the benefits of the Airia platform is that it allows you to structure the work in different projects, and you can allocate different people different budgets, different models, different tools, and even different data sources for these projects. Maybe if you are solopreneurs or you are learning into the AI world, this might sound a bit difficult or not as simplified, but think about a big enterprise of those that all of you use today, like a big airline company or a big supermarket, for example, where they have all the different departments and they want to allow the people from HR or the people from finance or the people from engineering to actually go ahead and build their AI solutions. This is when it's relevant, for example, to create projects. If I go to the hackathon project that I have prepared for today, as you can see, when I go into models, I just have a subset of all the models that are supported. The subset of models are the ones that I have allowed for this. The same with data sources and the same with MCP and tools. Now I'm going to go ahead and open my first agent that I have created. That you can go ahead and in order to follow, you can go ahead and click into add a new agent to create your very first agent. I want to show you, but when you click here, it opens the canvas. Sometimes I call it canvas. Sometimes I call it a studio, where you are able to actually create your first agent or your first AI pipeline. How you're able to create it? You're able to create it in a very easy, low-code, no-code fashion, just by drag and dropping the different models that you have created into the canvas and connecting them all together. I'm going to change the name from here of my agent. And for example, I'm going to call it Hackathon Demo 1. And now that I have my Hackathon Demo 1, by default, it comes with a model that is connected into the input and a model that's connected into the output. The input is how the agent, how this AI pipeline will start, and the output is the result that we'll be sending it will be the result or the response that it will be sending. Everything that I connect in between, it depends really up to me, and I can combine all the things that I have here in the plus sign. I can connect it with different AI models. I can combine them. I can create a fan-out architecture. I can create a chain-in architecture as well if I want to connect them vertically or I want to connect them horizontally. I can also make use of the different tools that I have configured as well. And I can also make use of the data sources that I have also configured, as I have shared before. But there are other things that are important. For example, flow control. We have conditional steps. We have human in the loop steps. We have webhook approval steps. All of these are very relevant when we're creating production grade agents. Think about, again, big airline, big supermarket, big financial institution. They want to have AI taking decisions on behalf of certain humans, but the very first step, it needs a human approval. It needs a step in the middle to make sure that, hey, before you proceed, send me a message to me, let me approve it. The same, for example, with the router. Depending on a router, what allows me to do is instructing the agent to follow over path A or follow over path B. But the most important step are actually the models. The models are the brain, and the models are what's gonna give this agent the power of decision, the power of action, and the power of conversation if we are creating, for example, a chatbot. So I'm deploying the model step in here, I'm connecting the input to the model, and I'm connecting the output to the model. When I open the model step, few things I wanna highlight. First of all, I can go ahead and give a system prompt. How easy is to create a system prompt in Airia? Is just by providing here. You are assistant, you are a virtual assistant. Answer polite and concise. Do not use more than 10 words. For example, I can also modify the temperature of the model just by sliding into the bar here. What is the temperature? I always say the temperature is about deterministic. How do you want the model to be as deterministic as possible? If you set it to 0, it will be always 100% deterministic. Same input, generate same output. If you set it to 1, same input will generate different outputs. But this creativity doesn't mean like it will come up, it will invent things. It doesn't mean that it will go crazy. This means, for example, that given 0, if I ask, just for the sake of the example, what is Dubai? With 0, it will always reply, Dubai is a city in the United Arab Emirates, period. If I select one answer might be Dubai is a city in the United Arab Emirates. It might be that Dubai is actually a very touristic, if I set it to one, another answer could be Dubai is actually a very touristic city, which is located north of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. And another answer might be Dubai is the capital where things happen, etc., etc. So the answer, while is true, while is certain, it fluctuates. More things that I can control from here, depending on the model, is the reasoning effort. Depending on the model, you also, the date, time, and context, very important. I said at the beginning that these models are not connected to the internet. This means that these models do not have awareness of which day is today. If I do not click into, if I don't have this enabled, the model will not know that today is actually 2nd of February. And more things that you can follow yourself while you are exploring the platform. For example, making sure that the user input is always included. Why is that important? It is important because if I'm chaining different models together, for example, look at this. Imagine this is my setup while I'm connecting 3 models in such a way. I might want or I might not want that this model has the user input. Maybe I'm interested that this model only has the output of the model that precedes it. Now, said that, I want to show you how I have connected my model. I have provided a system prompt. Now I'm happy to start testing. Directly from here into the platform, you are able to test it. You are able to come here, open the playground, and for example, say hi. Once I provided with a hi message, I can see how the model is, how the agent is being executed, and I got my first answer. This is my very first agent. I have already created an agent. I have already created an AI pipeline. It's done. What information do I have here in the playground? I'm testing it. I'm creating it. I want to modify things. I see how many tokens I have consumed. I see what has been the cost of this execution. And I also see what has been the time that took me for this answer. I don't like how it replied. I should be that the answer should be in 25 words. Be extremely polite and always provide answers in English and Arabic. I don't like how it answered first. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to tweak it a bit. What I can do now, clear chat, and I say, I test it again. I'm sending hello, how are you? The model will run and we will see the changes and we will see how this has changed. As you can see now, it provides hello and thank you, how are you? And something in Arabic. Different token consumption, different price value, and different time as well. If I want to dig a little bit further, I can come into view logs. And in view logs, I'm able to see what has been all these steps. It has been the input. In the model itself, what has been the prompts that has been used, system prompts, user prompts, the data that has been processed, and what has been the generated output, and what has been the final output. I can go ahead, even if I need one step further of further investigation, I can open the JSON and I can have here all the entire payload with all the timestamps, all the token consumptions, how much time is spent on every single step, and what has been the result and the input and the output of every single step. Once I'm happy with my agent, I can go ahead and actually publish it. And by publishing the agent, what I'm doing is I'm actually creating a control version. Now, I have published my agent. As you can see, I have here my draft, and I have here my published agent. I can track, imagine we're a big company again, I can track who actually did that change. And I can always copy this version of the agent, create a replica of this version of the agent, and actually modify it to my needs, or copying it to my needs. This agent, as I said, it's not connected to the internet. I'm going to go back and I'm going to check which other agents I have that I have prepared in advance to make sure we are ahead of time and take the most out of the afternoon today. And I'm going to look at the internet capable agent. The internet capable agent, as you can see, I have here the agent. I'm going to use the latest published version. As you saw, I see here that there are 3 versions. I'm working starting from version 3, and I have connected the tool to this agent. And this tool is actually the Brave Search MCP, which allows me to search on the internet, retrieve information on the internet, and provide it to the agent. This is why, for example, if I'm asking a question, what is the data decoding science community in Dubai? Do a search. Now, what the agent is doing, the agent will interpret this input as we have seen before, but we'll try its capabilities to go ahead and make a search on the internet and provide an answer to us. When I show you how this actually works, we're going to see an answer hopefully now. And it's taking a bit more of time since it's engaging with different sources of information. I can, in the meantime, what I can do, and we also have, as you can see, now we have seen the answer, data science, Dubai data science. But what I want to show you is that if I click now into logs, and I look into the AI model, I see the prompt. What is the data decoding science community in Dubai? But what I see is actually the tool call. And as you can see, it happened to search, for example, in meetup.com. It happened, for example, to search another time in meetup.com and retrieve different information from the internet. What is very important with the tool connection, one of the other capabilities of the platform is that I'm actually able to compare versions in between them. And when comparing versions, for example, version 3 compared to version 1, and version 1 doesn't have internet versus version 3 that has internet, I'm able to run the exact same query and compare what has been the result of both options. For example, if I say, what is the weather today in Dubai? I'm launching this query against 2 systems, one with internet capabilities, the other one without internet capabilities, and we will explore what is the answer. Both systems are thinking. See, this one I don't have weather data, and it's just summarizing based on past historical data what would be the weather today. And if I look into the logs, we see that there is no internet capability, and this one would allow with still thinking and is researching online and trying to find a proper answer. Why this is useful and when this comes handy? This comes handy, first of all, when you want to compare different versions of your agent. You make a modification, you make an enhancement, you want to compare, you want to check what is the token consumption and what is the price consumption. This also comes very handy when you want to compare models. How powerful is GPT-5 Nano versus GPT-5, for example? You could create one version with one model, another version with another model, and I would put the answer here. You can see it said that I cannot pull information, but if I look into the tool itself, I see that I have consumed way more tokens. It took actually way more time. And if I look into the AI model, I see that the tools have been provided in order to retrieve the information of what's going on at the moment in Dubai. Great. I have now set comparison. I've shown you how to compare the different models. Now I want to show you that if I have, for example, another agent, let's take a look at another agent, for example, this agent which does structured output. I have here informed the agent that your role is to extract key information of people, but what I have done is I have enforced that the output needs to be of following this certain schema. What is the age, what is the name, profession, and nationality. So given information about a certain person, will generate an output following this. If I come here, for example, and I search for Brad Pitt, on the internet and I copy, for example, I copy this information and I come into the playground and I just paste it here, the model will generate an output. You see that the model has a very simple system prompt, but enforcing an structured output, and this is the output that is given, which following the structure that I want. Great. I've shown you how to create your very first AI pipelines. I have shown you how to compare among different models, how to also keep control of which version you are using. All of this is the canvas or the studio where you are creating, where you are playing on how to create your AI agent or AI pipeline. How you bring this into production, how you bring this to your external system. You do this via interfaces. If you click here in interfaces and you click into add interface, you are able to expose now this agent that you have created in different systems. One of them is actually the chat widget, which allows you to generate a piece of code that you can copy paste in your HTML code in your website for you to be able to run this agent. I'm sure that Mohammed has shown you already. Other things that you can do, you can actually schedule this agent. What about if you want this agent to actually run every day, every morning, every week? You can do that with the schedule agent. One very common use case is, hey, I have this agent that goes to these websites, collects what are the latest news on a topic of my interest, and comes back to me with an email saying, hey, Carlos, your five top news about this topic, this, and this. And this gets sent, for example, to my email. Another use case that I work with, that I worked on this particular same structure would be, imagine that you would search on the internet for what are the news that actually are affecting my business. I'm running, for example, an airline, as I was saying. What are the conflicts around the world? What are the weather conditions around the world? What are the supply chain logistics around the world that could affect my business? Please create a digestion of this news or rank them in certain order in terms of risk category and send them to me. I go back to interfaces, sorry. Other interfaces that are relevant, of course, Slack bots, Team bots, WhatsApp bots, you know how to, what do they mean, but also tools and MCP. We have the capabilities to expose this agent and this AI pipeline as an MCP server. So if you want to connect on your MCP client or your agent anywhere else, you want to connect to this agent as part of an MCP server, you can do this by configuring like here, configuring straightly from here. Also, as a webhook listener, if you want to send payloads of information to this agent, digest them, and run the payload itself, you can do this from the webhook listener. I want to show you very quickly also the Airia catalog. In the Airia catalog, I have here structured output. I'm going to share it with the public, and I'm going to add this interface. One of the differentiators of Airia, which might come convenient to someone in the call, is that we also provide part of our solution. Part of the solution might come handy for you if you are planning to use these agents for something production ready, is that you can use, actually part of the solution is making use of these agents as an end user. Imagine that you are creating all these agents for people who are not technical. They would have this view, this look and feel similar to the ChatGPTs of the world, where you are able to consume and where you are able to chat with this agent that you just created, the structured output that we have seen. So if I put here the same information, I would be receiving the exact same output. Now, very important, and why I'm explaining this? I'm explaining all of this because in all these interfaces, the version that is actually working is the published version. Very common mistake when people are creating their first agents. Oh, Carlos, this is not working. I have created all of this. Yes, but you are not publishing your agent. This means that this is why via API or via catalog, you will not see the results that you are expecting. Another point in interfaces, out of the box, by default, that makes life very easy and simplifies a lot the work of everyone creating AI pipelines and creating AI agents is that an endpoint, an executable endpoint, is created by default. You are able to run this agent with a call command from Postman, from Python, integrating it with your website, with your application, with your mobile application, with whatever you want. Straight out of the box, without the need to expose endpoints, without the need to create an API gateway, without the need of all this, of setting up the tech stack. The only thing you need is an Airia API key, and of course, the pipeline ID or agent ID or the UID that you see here. Let's take a look on how to create the API key. By creating an API key, I would come here into, I would go back and I would go into settings, and from settings, I would go to developer, and from developer, I would jump into API keys. And when jumping into API keys, I would go ahead and just generate an API key. I would select a project where I want to apply it or across all my projects. If I want to include conversations or not, we're going to touch on what are the conversations and what conversations mean right now to finalize our call. And then I would create my API key. I created my example API key. I select conversations and I create the API key. And now I have my API key that I can use to call this agent via API. Before showing you how to call the agent via API, I want to make sure that the notion of conversation is very clear, because you will need it during this challenge, and it's a very common topic when I'm speaking to customers and different people creating agents. If I look at this agent that I have created, since I said that there is no, the models are a snapshot of the system and they're not connected to the internet, if I come here and I say, as you can see, there is no system prompt whatsoever, very basic setup, and I say, hello, I am Carlos and I am in the virtual webinar about AI in Dubai. I'm sending now this information. See that if I don't click clear chat, everything that happens here stays within the conversation. It keeps context of the model. The model is able to keep context and come back to certain things that you have shared in terms of importance, in terms of key data. Hi, Carlos, nice to meet you, etc. Provides a very long answer on that. But if I ask, where am I? And if I have the history selected, include chat history, as you can see, I have all history. The model should be able to come back to me saying, oh, you are in Dubai, or you are in the AI webinar, and have a reference to what I just said. Okay, as you can see, Dubai right now, etc. Because I said, you said you are in a virtual webinar about AI in Dubai. But if I ask the same question, when I clear the chat, I start a new conversation, there is no learning, there is no history, I start from scratch. Now, the system will not be able to tell me about the virtual AI event or about Dubai whatsoever. This is very important, because when you're creating your agents via API or when you're integration, as you can see, I can see your location. It comes with some random information, GPT-5 trying to figure out where I am, enabling locations and so on, which do not make any sense. That's what the conversation means. A conversation means every single message, exchanging messages between the user to the model and vice versa, to keep us context. Very, very important when creating production or when creating the chatbots and to make sure that they are within for this challenge. Why I said that? Because now if I look into the interfaces and I go back to the API, I'm going to show you how to run actually this query via Python. So for a second, give me a second. I'm going to bring my Python code here. Fantastic. Can you read it properly, or I should give it a zoom?
So I think before we go to Python, can we take one quick
Yes.
Slido break, if you don't mind, for 7-8 minutes?
Yes.
And then we will go. Yeah, then we will go to this Python part.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So yeah, so thanks. So just guys, there are a lot of questions on Slido about the account setup. If you are in college, you can just put in the company name your college name, or you can put decoding data science as well. If you're not, it's not that you need to be working in a company for this challenge. Anyone with personal email ID, you just put decoding data science or your college name, and you can create a free account and you can start going. So don't worry about that. You can do that now. I'll just read the questions for you, right? I'll just read it for you. Carlos, I'll just read
Yeah,
some of
sure.
the top questions, right? So, Ahmad is asking this question. Ahmad is asking this question regarding the this particular. Let me just read it out clearly. One second. Yeah. What is the minimum viable scope for a portfolio ready agent in a challenge, like some input, output, some features? So he wants to know a good minimum viable scope that we can build using Airia for a portfolio ready project or an agent.
Perfect. If the answer is not clear enough, please go ahead and submit the follow up. But you know, we tend to try to overcomplicate everything. We tend to mean like I want to connect this and that and data sources and this. The MVP of an agent, and especially for the challenge, is that it solves something and that is useful. If you create a very simple agent, but it's very useful for you on your day to day, even it's something very simple that people are doing in a different way, but for you it solves you time, or it saves you money, or it makes your life better, or makes someone else's life better, that would be it. Make it as simple as possible, and but make sure that it's useful, make sure that it's relevant, make sure that it adds value to someone, if not yourself.
Awesome. And regarding that, Namra is asking again this question on Slido, but I think just to clarify,
Yeah,
what should we have to write in an embedding model if we are working in Airia? As we just discussed that we don't need a separate embedding model, and we can put it in the data source, and that is how Airia has designed this whole platform, right? Or if anyone wants to do any special embedding, what do you suggest them to do?
that's a very good question. Yeah, maybe I forgot to go over my agent called a legal advisor. What happened in the legal advisor is that if I go into data sources, I have created a data source and I have uploaded a document in the data source. Once I upload the document in the data source, the RAGing, the embedding process is done. I don't need to worry about it. And this question is very good. So, for example, I uploaded the tenancy guide, Dubai tenancy guide. When I look at the Dubai tenancy guide that I uploaded here, I don't have access to that document. That PDF was in my laptop. I uploaded it into the system. What do I have access to is into the vector database. So I can see the first chunk, the second chunk, the X whatever chunk that has been chunked and that has been stored into the vector database. Now, when I want to make use of it into an agent, I go here into the legal advisor and I have connected the data source. I have selected which files I want to be used in this vector into this data source. And I have selected few of these settings. I want to use a semantic search. This is not a table. This is not a CSV, so I'm not selecting text to SQL. Again, do I want to keep the user input or not? What is the relevance threshold I want to use? How many results I want to retrieve? How many neighbor chunks I want to use? Now, if I ask a question, for example, when do I have to renew my tenancy contract? What happens in this design of this agent? I'm actually, when do I have to renew my tenancy contract? This sentence is run through an embedding model and it's done a semantic search against the two PDFs that I have selected. And the result of that, based on the relevance score and based on the neighboring chunks and based on the maximum results that I'm expecting, is sent to the GPT-5 Nano without actually any instruction, but with the instruction of including the user input. So, as you can see, the answer already refers to Dubai, and it comes with information based on the article and based on some terms and conditions that are meant into the data source. If I go to the logs, you will see from the logs actually all the semantic search and what has been the result. For example, this result provided a 0.49 if either party to the tenancy contract wishes to amend and explains about the renewal process. And it provided the other chunks before and after. See that this happened without me selecting any special model, without me going ahead and defining the embedding strategy or setting up an embedding model, just by connecting the data source and providing it to an LLM that got, and if I look into the LLM, you will see how, back to the logs, if I look into the LLM, I see the prompt, I see all the different chunks of information that have been generated, and a final one that says, when do I need to renew my contract? And the model figured out the answer. For those that are looking for a more advanced use case that need more advanced capabilities, this data source can also be connected as a tool. So the model will decide when to consume information from the data source or when not. Mohammed, back to you.
Awesome. So thanks a lot. There are some questions that people are saying, what is the difference between N8N and Airia, voice flow and Airia? How is it different? This comparison is very tough, but just in few words, if you can just tell from your side, what is your perspective?
Yeah, from our perspective, we want to have a platform that allows the creation of AI solutions and AI pipelines for people, but think from an enterprise perspective. In Airia, you can create all these projects. You can say people from HR have access to this HR project, and HR people will only use GPT-5. And they will only use GPT-5 because we have approved as a company in the compliance department that is able to use GPT-5 and not other models. All of this can be set up and can be prepared within Airia. Also, when I look into one model, another big differentiator is that very easily I can set up certain rules and certain guardrails to make sure that certain information, as you can see from here, certain information related to privacy, to the people personal information, related to password detection, or certain topics, for example, as you can see here, certain topics around different topics, words, or certain topics you don't want to be discussed. And also from the security perspective, what would allow you to actually expose these agents, toggle all of this in such a way that you are protected from malactors and bad people trying to exploit your agents. What makes us very different is that how easy is to set up this across all the different agents that you have, or only a few of them. But look how you can select whether you want to apply it from the user to the model, from the model to the user, both ways. So if you have your own custom model, which have been trained with your data, but you want to make sure that your email doesn't get leaked or your credit card doesn't get leaked, you can control this from here. Also, these guardrails can be applied to responses from the data sources or responses from the tool. Security, the enterprise-grade approach, and the governance features is something that differentiates us from others in the market.
Awesome. The last question before I give it to you is, Kuldeep is asking this question. When you are doing the testing, like your draft projects or which AI model do you use as opposed to the AI model used for production ready implementation? I think he's talking about the most cost effective model to use, because end of the day you're paying credits from your side, right?
Yeah. That's a very good question. I love it. I tend to use the nanos a lot, or the minis a lot. Usually they are the cheaper, and they do not provide they provide a good enough answer for me to test and for me to understand if things are going in the right direction. However, when I'm testing the final steps of my production ready agent, I would turn to the actual model that I will use. As a rule of thumb, is a lot of trial and error. As a rule of thumb, it will depend on your use case. But what I have seen is nanos and minis for everything that is simple and doesn't require big context, to say hi, to say hello, to redirect you to another model. Claude is fantastic at image analysis and also fantastic at code generation. GPT-5, the thinking is for deep analysis, and if you would have a lot of tools or MCP servers connected to the model, I would look into the higher models like GPT-5, for example, or the Claude 4.5, also, or the Gemini Pro. But this is a rule of thumb, and it depends very much on the use case that you are creating.
And the good thing I like about Airia is you have a combination. In one tool, you can use Gemini up to, I think there are more than 40 plus models, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So before I give it again to Mr. Karls, remember the giveaway contest. Please take a learning from this session and post it on LinkedIn, tagging Decoding Data Science, and we'll be going to give you the giveaway prize. And we're going to announce the winner for the last session we did yesterday. Over to you for the second part, the Python part.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Very interesting question, guys. I love them. So keep them coming. And we were going to do this again at the end of the session. But to wrap it up, I wanted to show you how to use this into an external system, right? Just a quick reminder, I would come to interfaces, and I would go to view API information, and this is the core command that I need. And as a core command, I can also check, for example, how it would be in Python. And what I've shown is that how I get the Airia API key from the developer settings. Now, if I look into my developer environment, I hope it's readable and I hope you are able to follow what I'm doing. And I'm going to share all of this with Mohammed so we can share it in the WhatsApp group or on your documentation so you can have it as a quick start guide, right? What is very important is that the API key, I'm not putting it here in the recording, the API key is stored in my environment variables, but it would be as simple as just replacing your API key here. Let's take a look line by line. Connecting my API key. Again, you can do this on your own. And the first thing is the base URL. See that here is mina.api.airia.ai. Most likely, every one of your systems is set up in Mina. But just in case, you need to make sure that you are pointing to the right URL. How you will know that? You will know that by going into here and observing what is your root URL, or also from the URL where you are connecting to. Okay, very, very important because it's also one of the common issues that we see across. So I see Mina URL. Then my agent ID. My agent ID is my GUID or my pipeline execution ID. This is what identifies this agent that is the legal advisor and only the legal advisor. Okay? Then the other point is the headers. All the requests will need the XAPI key header as an authorization and to provide the API key as an answer, and also content type application JSON. These are the fundamentals to be able to connect or to run the pipeline from an external system. Let's just start with a very simple, this agent, by the way, is not the legal advisor agent, is another agent. So in the payload, let's just start with running an agent without context, without memory. So in the payload, what I would put is user input, okay? And user input is the actual input from the user, what I'm typing on the chat. For example, tell me a joke about computers. And I would be connecting to the B2 pipeline execution agent ID, which this is actually the same information that you see here, the same information that you see here. I'm connecting to it, sending the right headers, sending the right pipeload, and I'm getting an answer. Let's take a look at it. For example, I'm running it now live. Now it's thinking, it said hello world from Airia. And okay, we got the answer here. First answer, the raw answer. As you can see, the raw answer comes with a type, with the result, with a result, with a report, backup line, execution ID, etc. But the result is what's interesting to us. And this is why here you have the formatted response without the result. As you can see, here's a quick one. Why do programmers always mix Halloween and Christmas? Because 31st October equals 25 October. Very bad joke. GPT, you could do better. But this I ran my very first pipeline via Python. Now, if I need to provide with context, if I want to run an agent with context, the first thing I need to do, because of what I explained you, is actually you need to go ahead and create, let me delete this. You need to go ahead and create, I want to make sure that I don't, yeah, here. You need to go ahead and create first a conversation. And you create a conversation on the v1.conversation URL by just providing a user ID. The user ID is to associate the conversation to a user. Where do you get the user ID from? You get the user ID from going into the platform, going into the to your profile. You would see your profile here. You go to your profile from the top left corner, and in your profile you would see the user ID. This is the user ID. So this is why if I go back into the code, I have provided here the user ID before. And what I'm asking for is, okay, to create a conversation, and this is the title of the conversation that I'm creating. Then once I have the conversation ID, I'm sending it now, tell me a joke about computers, but I'm putting the conversation ID as a conversation ID, and I'm also putting the user ID as a user ID. And I'm sending exactly the same request. This is if I want to create the experience of context, experience of memory, so it remembers what I said before for that particular case. If I now run, I save this, and I run it. Go ahead, and it created a conversation ID. We got the first response from the API, creating a conversation ID. And now we got the answer again, giving a joke. Why do programmers prefer dark mode? Because light attracts bugs. Now, as you can see, I have a conversation ID that I can actually reuse and keep a conversation. Now I could challenge it saying, I don't like this. Or what do you mean by bug? Create another one. And the model would be able to pick up on this conversation. This is why I have provided here an example as well that I'm gonna also now hide all of this. Here, an example that I'm going to share it with you guys, so you have somewhere to start in case you're interested in this particular Python block. I have here a conversation ID. I'm going to copy now this conversation ID. I'm fixing the conversation ID, and now I'm creating some sort of a chat experience, right? So now I'm able to send, for example, I didn't like it. And now if I'm sending I didn't like it, it will be like continuing the conversation on that lame joke about light and bugs that the programmers do not like, that we just got it in the previous answer, because I modified the conversation. And I'm waiting for the answer, and I can keep the conversation as a chat. You can see, sorry about that, more computer jokes. Again, if it wouldn't know about the computer joke, it would say, sorry, I'm not interested in what you didn't like. You see, and now I provided a set of new answers. And I can keep here the conversation as per the agent and as I want it. I'm going to share this with you so you can all actually take a look. You can explore yourself. Just remember to change and to put your user ID. Just remember to change your agent ID. Just make sure and cross-check that the base URL is the base URL that needs to be, and that you're providing the right API key, whether it is through the environment variables or whether it is via a better way to do it if you prefer. To finalize this, I want to show you just a couple more things. We had now few conversations. We had now few interactions. I want to show you how I can come to Studio and I can come to projects, and I want to show you how from feeds you can monitor. This is another one of the differentiators of this platform against other platforms. If I go into agent executions, and this is what companies love it, every single interaction that happened, whether on the test account, whether on the catalog, or whether via API, I'm able to come here, jump into it, and understand what has been the execution, and also understand which user has provided it. And as you can see here, this user that is blank, it's because that API call that we did without a user ID, where it was tell me a joke without a computer, without a conversation, and without a user ID. All the other relevant information, how many tokens consumed, what has been the user ID, and all this information. Why the conversations are important? Conversations are important to keep context, but conversations are also important for us to be able to see a better view in a human way what has been going on. So I can come here and I can check on this conversation that we just had. Tell me a joke about computers. I didn't like it. Ha ha ha, cool. And I see all the answers and all the conversation I had between whatever agent I have created and the Airia platform. Also, you can troubleshoot from here problems with data ingestion or problems with data processing. So very powerful. You can sort out with dates, you can sort out with projects, or even going to an agent or to a model directly. To finalize this, I want to touch on something that Mohammed reminded me that is very important. And if I go into settings and if I go into account, I want to explain to all of you that we just announced today that we would have a free version of Airia. So you can make use of Airia with limitations, with only one agent and certain executions per month on your own, completely for free. However, there is two types of things in Airia. Like there are two ways. One of them is to pay for the platform, depending on how many agents you want, how many users you want, how many advanced features you want. And the other one is the token. And the token balance, it cannot be free. We're giving $5 for free to everyone. So as long as you keep above $5, you would be able to run these agents, run these models, and play with the platform. The moment you're going below $5, you would see this banner saying, sorry, insufficient funds, insufficient credit, but you can always top up from here. So now I would like to address all your questions, address all your concerns and feedback and anything that I can help you with, guys.
Awesome, Carl. So before I read the Q&As, one request, guys, please upvote your questions. We cannot take all the questions in this session, we will be trying to answer it and give a recording. A lot of questions are coming about the account that was there. There was some issue in the Airia account as there was doing some changes. Now it is working fine. But just one thing, Carls, for people who are getting issue, do they need to use the new email ID and create the account, or just refresh their old account? It should work, right?
If you refresh the old account and you are above $5, it should work.
But by default, when people were signing up earlier, they were getting $10, right? Now it is changed.
Now, like the problem is that we're giving $10, but the limit was $10. So the moment you were below $10, you were having issues. Now we are giving $5. So the moment you are below $5, it's gonna give you issues. But if you top up, you will also need to go below $5.
Awesome, cool. So thanks a lot. So guys, please put your questions coming in. We'll be doing the giveaway in 10 minutes, so please stay back till then. One very good question, and I also had this question in mind. Ahmed is asking a very good question, because right now building models and everything that you told is amazing, but evaluations is something very, very important, right? Like the answers that you're getting, is it similar to what it should be? Like we have Langsmith for evaluation and debugging observability platform. Can Airia or maybe have some plugins to do these type of things, like have a reference data set with right answers, like golden data set with, and then compare the output and then do some checks? I know they have logs, but do they have this feature?
Love the question, Ahmed. You have here evaluations. You have here evaluations out of the box. You can create an evaluation and it works exactly like you, Mohammed, have described. You are able to provide a data set, okay? You can download the data set of inputs, expected outputs, which agents you want to evaluate, and you can select which evaluation model you want to select. And you would see in an output that you would see in the output input compared to the output that the agent generated, how deviated you are.
Awesome. This is a very good feature because personally, I use Langsmith. I connect all my applications to Langsmith, but this is like w- w- one in solution, everything in one
Yeah,
space. That is amazing. Cool.
yeah,
So now, Chetan is asking this question again. How to use Airia for the no code, low code part? And I think I will take this answer like you want to take this answer like if a person is not into coding and not doing Python, how can he use
yeah.
Airia for building his solutions?
Sure. That person can go into the studio that we have seen, and just by drag and dropping the models and by instructing the model on what to do, is able to create the agent. Once that person has created the agents, they can publish them into the Airia catalog. And once you have published them into the Airia catalog, any person, family, friends, employees, any person around can come to catalog. And in the catalog, as you can see, I just see agents. I don't see any technical details. I don't know what is a model. I don't know what is a Python. I don't know what is a data source. I just come here and I consume agents. For example, if I look into the previous thread, I send this information, it provides me this answer. I can copy this, I can download this, but I don't know what happened, a structured output, JSON output, which model has been used. I don't care.
Awesome, awesome. So the word that I was trying to tell before this was all in one platform. I
All
just
in one.
missed that word. So that is something nice. You don't need to connect to Langsmith. You don't need to do all that. You have everything inbuilt for building an end-to-end application. Awesome. So someone is asking about the Python notebook. You already told you will share that later, and I can share it to people
Yes,
who are doing
we
the
will put that on the WhatsApp group.
yeah, and this is something very interesting, right? Why we have a separate Airia path is because people can use Airia and they can also be in the coding path. They build their whatever engine on Airia platform, get the API key, and then use their Python code, whatever they have. So that becomes like a blend. So that is a good thing about Airia, right? If you want to just do the HTML part that I showed you in GitHub, you can do that as well, or else you want to connect to Python, you can do that as well. This is the flexibility that you get.
Yeah,
And now, one question I am getting regarding this about reliability, security, and observability and cost. How to monitor all these things, and when a person is building a production ready AI agent, and what do teams usually miss according to your experience?
very good. One of the things that also people love is that you can set up budget. You can set up a budget. Okay, when you're editing the project, you can set up budget for the project. What this allows you to do is like, you look, I'm topping up, I'm putting $100 to the account because I'm working on it, but on this project, I'm allocating only $10, and you can then get notification when this consume runs to a certain point. Then, following this, people rely completely in agents and in conversations. In a more advanced view, um, you come to insights, and in insights you can understand how much all these agents, all these things are costing me. What has been the total cost? How many executions I had? What has been the average cost? And imagine if I would have, for example, per project. I can see it also here, for example, per project. But you could imagine that if you have different users, here it's only me, but I have execution without user, but I could see here all my employees understanding what has been the cost, and I can keep monitoring this.
Yeah. One question regard from is there about these guardrails, right? Like in OpenAI Agent Builder, there is something called as a guardrails. Like you can
Yeah,
put in like after the user input happens. Is there a canvas or a setting? I could see it somewhere, but is it easily available? Because and it is a system design, right? You need to separately put it, or is it like a part of the input, like to check whether it is a prom injection issue, or is it a something related to person wanted to get some information about the system prompt, so they capture it in the input itself. So is it a
yeah.
part of the input, or is it a separate canvas where we define the security threshold and all those concepts?
Yeah, so you would come to Studio and you would come to so you can do it from two ways. You can do it from the security settings, which I'm not sure you have full access to it because they are part of our enterprise package solutions. But if not from the canvas, you could come here to guardrails, and you would apply only guardrails to this step, and you would create them from here to create new guardrails, and you would define data leakage prevention, you would define responsible AI, you would define security, and for the hardcore people in the audience, you can even define to execute a custom Python code against the content that the agent is creating to block it or not before you send the actual output.
Yeah, I think this feature, guardrail feature, let me just confirm. When we were just doing the demo, right now we can only see in AI model, when I click, we can only see model and tools. The third thing is, I think, only for
Okay,
enterprise
this
as
is
of now.
part of our enterprise. It's
Yeah.
part of our enterprise
But it's very,
package.
very useful, right? It's very
Yeah,
useful to set it up, and every company should look into that.
exactly.
It's amazing. So there are, at least right now, there are 15 more open questions, but I will just try to take some unique questions. Like you already covered a little bit about multi-agents, right?
Yeah,
Sibaraj is asking this question, Sibaraj, if he's there in the call. How do we orchestrate multiple agents in pipelines
love it.
and configure memory and managing context switch?
Yeah, I love this question. One of the, of course, had to do a session for everyone. But what I can do here, I can go to MCP and tools, and I can create a new tool. First point I want to highlight is that one of these tools, it can be an Airia agent. Okay, so I select an Airia agent, and I'm going to call it, for example, legal advisor. This tool is for legal advisor information. I'm able to define now which agent I'm connecting it, which agent is this tool gonna be. So, and I can define custom parameters if needed, and I can provide more information. Now, perfect, it's done. If I go into tools, I have now a new tool, which is legal advisor, that is connected to another agent. So if I go to agents and I go into create my new agent, I'm creating a new agent from scratch. Okay, new agent from scratch, and I'm gonna create. You are a personal concierge. Okay, what I can do is as a tool, I can connect it as a tool to the legal advisor. So whenever a question will come and the agent following the instruction here, legal advisor information with legal information, it would go and trigger the other agent with whatever input is needed and retrieve the answer back. This might be one use case that you are building. Maybe it makes sense. But in another way, you can also go ahead and connect different agents, even external agents here as a chain. So I'm chaining this model that connects to an agent to another agent that finalizes this agent. So here I'm connecting, let's say, 3 agents together. The context is the inputs are being shared as context, and you can manipulate it also. And to answer the question of the context management, here the context will be mostly handled by this one, because this one would be sending information to the legal advisor and would be coming back. And this one would be getting whatever it's being sent. If the use case is more advanced, what I have shown of the conversation, I have put here the URL to our documentation, because you can manipulate the conversation in such a way that you are feeding pre-context or context in advance. So the way to send information into the conversation is not just via an API call of the agent. I can go ahead and say like modify conversation and put information there for the agent to have that knowledge. I hope that answers the question. If not, happy to take this in another session or in a follow-up.
Yeah, and also, do you have like this following up on this question, like Crew AI, right? Crew AI framework. Are
Mhm.
you guys using some type of open source frameworks? Because this is a very complicated thing, right? Multi-agent orchestration. Are you using any frameworks, or is it something your internal capability of Airia that is there?
We are not using any framework at the moment, but what you can do is, what we allow you to do is to connect to also external agents, be here connecting to external agents, or via your own custom way if you want to deploy here your Python block and would allow you to connect to an external agent. Also, agents in Airia, that's a very good question. I know it's not actually what you asked for, but agents in Airia can be exported and can be
Mm.
imported again within Airia. Okay, and this is why we have something that might come relevant. That is our community. That it has more than 2,000 different agents that people have created. Some of them are created by me. They are basic. Some of them are basic. Some of them are more complex. That you can different topics. All of them companies, to be honest, are not using them out of the box. They are using them as a quick start. Okay, I'm starting from here. I don't start from a blank canvas because I want to build something similar. And in any of these agents that I see here, whatever they mean, whatever they are meant for, remote work assistant agent, I can click here and I can import them now and use them into my project, and I would just import them into my platform.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. I know there are a lot of open questions still. What I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe look at some of the questions that are repeated and try to answer. Carl's, any closing thoughts? I know we are overboard the time as well, and you're also it's very late for you. Any and guys, just stay back for 10 more minutes. I want to give the giveaway and have some discussions with you. But Carl's, before you wind up for the day, you have any closing thoughts and message to the challenge participants?
Closing thoughts is that I loved it. Closing thoughts is that you guys are doing an amazing job. Closing thoughts that I loved it, the session, and I loved even more the questions. I think you are on the right path by the questions that you are asking. And one thing that I learned for over let's say this year that I've been building agents every day for for some of the very well known companies that you all use every day is that what I learned is that like let AI do AI things. If you're trying to do with AI, with generative AI, something that can be done by a Python like pure coding or by an RPA because it's a structured data and the answer is deterministic, is much better that you do it via coding and you don't burn yourself trying AI to do deterministic things. Let AI do AI things, meaning provide the prompt, provide several prompts, connect agents together, and trial and error process. All these questions that are pending, Mohammed, happy to take them over. We can put them on WhatsApp, we can put them on your forum, on your communities, and we can take it from there.
Yes, yes. Thanks a lot, Carls, and thank you all of you for staying back. So quickly, I'm going to share my screen, guys. A lot of people are asking also, what is this giveaway stuff, right? So just to keep the community engaged, for the for the three people who post about what you have learned from the session and tag us, so we are recognizing them and giving them the giveaway of that $100 scholarship of our Python certification course, because that is the foundation of people who want to actually use AI and do the uh, expert level things, that what also Carl showed you in the sharing, while you were sharing the Python code. So Python is still very, very important. You can do a lot of things with no code, low code, but if you guys are really interested to learn AI, I recommend everyone to do this Python certification course. And as I told you, we are giving a giveaway. Easy, just take a screenshot of and just share one learning, tagging us, and then the team will reach out to the top three people, right? I will not take much time. I just want to announce the top three giveaway winners. Barry Davidson is here. I'm not sure whether he's here. Just put in the chat here. Just reach out to us. We will be sharing you the coupon code. Thanks a lot, Barry, for your continuous engagement and keeping the momentum active. We have the second one for the day. This is Dia. So For today's, we are going to announce it in tomorrow's session. So the second giveaway winner is there. I am Mohammed. If you're there in the chat, or maybe later on we reach out to you, the team will also reach out to you and give you the giveaway as well. And thank you again for your contribution. And the last one is Lina Fatima. Thanks a lot for all three of you to uh, do this. And for the people who are asking how do you take part in the next giveaway, this is the giveaway for yesterday's session. Today's giveaway is going to be announced tomorrow 7 p.m. So there are a lot of questions that we are having. I will share these questions to Carl's will also answer those questions as well. And tomorrow 7 p.m. we have one more AI Explorer session that you have in the community. So please register for that event as well. There are right now 18 questions. I will try to get the answers of that question. I will give a small demo about GitHub and how to make a GitHub profile and share everything. So tomorrow's session is also very important. So I request every one of you. We have 5 more minutes in the call, so I will not be able to talk much, but I request you to register for this event. This is the AI Explorer session, and I request any one of you in the call who wants to give a demo, wants to share their whatever they have done. I will also be rolling out 2 or 3 people who are volunteering to give a demo of what they have built and get some feedbacks. I will request some of the judges and mentors to join as well. And request everyone is asking about points, right? So don't worry about the points of the challenge. Just do your work, right? Code, low code path, no code path is just an idea for you to. End goal is a app that a person is going to use, a user is going to use. And as Carl's mentioned very rightly, is don't overcomplicate things. Take a business problem that you are solving, think from the user perspective, and just solve that particular thing, and just continue. If you see, continue your participation, continue submitting whatever it is, step by step, what you are building, what your progress is. Please do this here as well. And I just wanted to show, a lot of confusions are there regarding the point system. The points are just there to manage you can say the frequency and the engagement within this whole ecosystem. But points are only 20% of this whole challenge. You have 80% is about the quality and your final output that is there. So people, don't worry about these points. Some of you are working, you cannot submit at 9 o'clock. Even if you are late, it's fine. These points are good for few people, but don't worry. Just even if you're late, just keep submitting. And I request, and I'll give you experiences of the last challenge. Some people started very late, but they won because their output was amazing, their product was amazing. The judges related to the story and what problem they were solving. So just keep it going. Everyone who submits and reaches the 8th checkpoint, that is Sunday, they are winners for us, right? So please continue this. Please put your questions on WhatsApp. Give us some time to respond, because we don't monitor that 24/7. Whenever we get time, we look at it and reply. But we will try to help every one of you at the maximum capacity. The only message to everyone is, please don't quit.